Right, so we have another essay style question here. One thing I didn't say in my last video is, which a lot of your teachers will have said in your other subjects as well, point, evidence, explain. Alright, some teachers, alright, say peel. Alright, what that means is point, so make your point, evidence it, explain it, and link it back to, so some teachers say that, alright? I personally prefer peel, alright? So make sure you peel your answer apart, alright? You're going into as much detail as possible. So, this one's actually quite nice in that they've kind of given you the 3 areas-ish, alright? So it says big data, so first of all, are you going to show, so you know straight away that your technical understanding of what big data is going to make a point here. So describe what big data is, use examples to illustrate your description, alright? Now, it just says big data is an important application. This is where you've got to build on your own knowledge of what big data is. For example, you all use social media. Do you know that your whole social media presence from the beginning is big data, alright? Everything that you post daily, right? That goes into that goes into like a massive array of data that is big data, and it's going at such a high speed. Can you remember what that one is? Velocity. Okay, so you can almost link it back to the velocity there and talk about how it's coming in so quick. All right. So what is big data? Use examples. So then explain some of the challenges that big data brings with it, and the approaches that can be taken to overcome these in relation to programming and hardware. Consider some of the ethical and legal issues again. So let's have a look at where, well, I've kind of shown you that now. All right. One area that I'm going to need to discuss. One area that I'm going to need to, so there's 12 marks here. So how many areas do we have? 3. So what's one of them going to be? Big data. Yeah, that's going to be one area. The other? Yeah. So the challenges that you are going to face, and what do you think the other one is? Process to overcome. Let's have a look at the mark scheme. Challenges and how to overcome it were a point together. What you've missed out is the ethical and legal issues. All right. Look, think about it. This one was bullet pointed. If it's bullet pointed, it's giving you a helping hand here. So that would be area 1. All right. That would be area 2, and that would be area 3. Okay. What that means then is to get up into the 10 marks, I could at least explain 2 of these really well, and then if I run out of time, I can get some points in the other area. What I do want you to do is don't leave it underdeveloped, and just, leave it so you've only talked about 2 areas, because that's going to cap you into the middle mark band. Try to get at least into the 10. Consider some of the ethical issues. So let's look at those, all right? So what is big data? Right. Big data comes in a variety of forms. That's why I talked about social media and how you can link it back to it, all right? Email messages, videos, images, website contents, facial recognition, all right? There's this big argument in America at the moment where they're trying to ban TikTok because of who it's ran by, yeah? Because in America, it's been announced that TikTok is being run by China, and they're worried that they're seeing our facial recognition and our reactions, and they're using our cameras when we're looking at certain videos, and they're learning about us. That's all big data. So that's a discussion. If you can think of real life situations and how you can use that and adapt it to these questions, use it. All right? So we talked about how it can't be just in a single data structure. It's lots of different pieces of information, all right? Again, it's a high volume of data. Talk about how fast it's coming in, the velocity of it, all right? You can talk about the types of data that cause it to be high. So in here, like it's talking about gene sequencing, scientific experiments, medical data sets. Think about it. There are billions of people in the world. Yeah? Billions of people have different genetic patterns that it's got to take into consideration. How it comes in very quickly. Think about it. How many card transactions are made a day? And the systems are going to be able to react to that instantly. That's going to be a challenge. All right? But not only that, think about how many people are, if any of you have been in Discord groups, or are any of you in WhatsApp groups, where you mute the group and you go back to it, and there's 1,000 messages, all right, just in a short space of time. But imagine that on much wider scale. So that is a challenge, because data cannot be stored on one server. Think about how we have all of these data farms now. I mean, if it asked you about an environmental issue, there's one right there. We're getting more and more servers, that's more and more electricity, but that's more and more land that we're using for these servers. Okay? It's not possible to process quickly enough with one computer, which is why you have multiple computers. I mean, think about it and how computers have developed now to what type of computing? Quantum computing. It's a relevant point, because you can use qubits now, which can actually process much more quickly, but they've had to do these developments in the computers because these standalone PCs can only represent a 1 and a 0, which is not enough. It's not fast enough. Data cannot be represented in a table, relational data, because there's so many different forms of it. Like, think about it. You know databases, you have a key field that links to another table. You can't really do that with a picture. You can't have a relational table where a photograph of somebody is what links that next table. You might be able to develop it in the future, but it's not. How to overcome it, I'm going to whiz through this. Use of functional programming. All right. Remember that functional programming, the variables are immutable, which means that the data that's gone in never changes, but the functional programming is able to process it much quicker because you can use recursion. All right. So very well done. Good. You can use map. Talk about folding. This is where you're going to have to bring in your understanding of functional programming. Yes.
The point of functional programming is not about the functions, it's about like how it's, you can do it in parallel and it's like immutable in a sense.
That's what you just said about it being immutable.
But like, I don't understand how like math and form and stuff are like the functions as they come
No, what you've just said there, it paralyzes the execution of programs. So, was it? I just said paralyzes, didn't I? I can't even say it. Parallelizing. Oh my gosh, right. But you could do that at the same time. So you could have one function, but the data set's not changing. This is it. So you can have one function running on one part of it, maybe the head and the tail, so you can actually process much faster, okay? Use thousands of different servers to do it. So you can have one server doing one function, one server doing another function. Use of XML and JSON. There's so many points that you could bring about the use of functional programming. You could even bring in your understanding of how you'll show your technical words, talk about how the domain is the data set, the function, the codomain. Bring that in there if you can. But when it comes to ethical issues and legal issues, again, you're going to have to show that you actually understand what the issues are with it. There's a lot of sensitive data. That data can't be leaked. It's got to be kept secure. GDPR. All right. I think I just saw another one here. The Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act allows the police to look at information if they suspect that it's something that is not keeping us safe. All right. So there are certain laws that allow those agencies to look at the data if they think that something is a threat. If that's something that you've forgotten about, it's worth looking up, because it doesn't mean that they're not going to throw it in there. Okay. I've realized that we are running out of time, and I'll give you a copy of these to look at, but I'm going to stop this there and finish that one.